This is Watch Dogs 2. We're on Xbox Series X and Xbox One. We're showing the best of what Xbox has to offer and the worst on the right. So with that, 900p across both versions. The left with the Series X has a FPS boost, which means it runs at 60 FPS, whereas on the right it's running at 30 FPS. We're doing a side-by-side and some other things throughout the video. And it does also feature Auto HDR for Series X, so keep that in mind as well. So yeah, I figured, some running around, moving through the street, and then we're going to go switch over to a little bit of driving side by side. Again, these types of videos are a lot of work, so be sure to like it so more people can check it out. And of course, feedback and stuff is also great here, as I am kind of experimenting. This is just my second effort at doing the side by side, which in an open world is kind of hard to do, especially driving on the Xbox One. Wow, the 60 FPS difference for Watch Dogs 2 driving is absolutely insane. I can't even describe how much more fluid and better it feels to drive at that. Whereas 30 FPS is just like this slow crawl where I was like, time-wise it's just hard to line these up really because of that. You're just like whipping down at 60 all smoothly, and then 30 it's just like this crawl space trying to get to where you're going. It's very interesting for sure. In general, the game feels insanely better on Series X. Obviously, I mean that FPS boost is just absolutely insane, and it just really is welcomed, and I hope we get to see more titles do this in the future, because I think this is going to be such a game changer for sure. When it comes to next-gen experiences, there's just something about the fact that we can experience these older games like this console-wise in this new way that's just absolutely fantastic. I think it's crazy, just to have this option here, because I didn't think this was going to be a thing, and to see it running as well as it obviously is, it's just amazing. So now we're doing a load time comparison. So keep in mind actually sharing the same hard drive as I swap it between the consoles. Just in terms of the loading, you do get the benefit, obviously, of the faster load on Series X. They both still take a decent amount of time, but, same spot, same travel point. And again, as you're seeing this comparison, just keep in mind that open world games are dynamic. They're different every time you kind of go through places, and not everything's going to be perfect one-on-one, just in terms of, kind of how the world is set up around you as we move through it. So I'm trying my best to kind of keep things in sync. And we're almost done here on the Series X side. So that's 41 seconds, just slightly over 41 seconds. And then, the Xbox One, a little bit longer, it's got to do its thing. Surprisingly, not the biggest comparison. Like when we did Cyberpunk, that was huge, but this one comes in at about 55 seconds, just slightly over it. And yeah, actually not bad. So then we're going back into just Series X here, mostly showing off, again, some of the fluidity, trying to do some different things. If you want to see the full kind of look at the world, driving through a lot of different areas, I do have a dedicated video that's just more gameplay. It's like half an hour gameplay just going through the city, so you can take a look at that as well if you'd like to see more of the game in action. But I was trying to pick just little spots where I could test and push it out, just so you can really see the fluidity in action. And I'm just experimenting with it, like doing a little bit of side-by-side, doing a little bit of testing it out, seeing how it's running, things like that. Just a lot of, trying out new things, gameplay and footage-wise, video editing too. It's kind of fun just to play around with things. Big crash, but it feels so smooth, and I think basically from what I've seen the entire time through, it just seems to be running perfectly fine. So this is like a bit of a small, minor frame rate test. I have no idea how this is really going to look for you, but the idea was I just kind of fed it through. When it was like going up, that's just it loading, if that makes sense. That basically the frame rate kind of thing just is loading up, and then everything, the entire game just seems to be running smoothly at 60 from what I tried. And yes, I am looking at better options in regards to kind of showing off frame rate and everything like that, because obviously I want to showcase something a little bit better in that regard. And great, let's continue along here, kind of showing off a little bit more of the game. And now this is a test of the multiplayer option. So we actually found somebody to play with. We're doing a mission. If you watch the full gameplay I did previously, I tackled this mission by myself. So I thought it would be interesting to do a sort of, look at the game from a perspective of tackling a more heavy situation with another player in multiplayer. And we're just going to kind of see how that, kind of rolls out here. And again, generally I'm just trying out some different things, so obviously feedback and that is very helpful, just because I want to show off unique elements of games and kind of get into some of the technical elements of them. I am definitely enjoying, the side-by-side angle. I think that's kind of fun. So we're waiting here because this guy's bringing in the cops because I guess he planted something on somebody over here. But yeah, Watch Dogs 2 is kind of fun. It's definitely interesting, and it's great to see how this affects, the experience, this frame rate, just the increased fluidity, how much better every element of it feels. It's kind of just like a subtle but insanely nice little touch-up for this one. And I definitely did enjoy jumping into it and playing it again. I find the Watch Dogs games to be quite fun. This one, obviously, style-wise, is quite a bit different from the other Watch Dogs games. And I'm trying to cause some extra mayhem, that's why I blew up that thing over there to the left. Just trying to see, really, if there's any sort of real issues that pop up here. And it seems just to be running quite well, no matter what frantic action's going on. But yeah, the Watch Dogs series, I've quite enjoyed what they have to offer. The first one being a little bit more moody and atmospheric. This one's a little bit more playful, a little bit more fun. Well, not to say I didn't have fun with the first game, but you get the idea of it, where this one's just a little bit more of a happy-go-lucky, easier-going sort of setup. And then the third one kind of goes a little bit zany and off the rails, really crazy with its attitude and stuff. But yeah, definitely an interesting series. This was really fun to kind of put together and take a look at and try to get it all, leveled up side-by-side wise, so that we could actually, have some good comparative footage going on at the start there, and then jumping into the load times, which again, I try to line up something that's like a fair distance away, just to kind of push it. And then of course this multiplayer here, just to kind of finish it off, again showing off the fluidity, just so you see how smooth every single moment of this is. It's just fantastic. It's the best way to play Watch Dogs 2 on console, which is nice. And yeah, at least I believe so at this point. At least in the latest generation, it's a great way to experience what Watch Dogs 2 has to offer. And I'm hoping we get to see more games get a similar treatment, because I think this is something that is really exciting, really unique, and just generally beneficial to players that want to experience these older games again. Or maybe for the first time, it's all about preservation, and a 30 FPS cap is sometimes a barrier for people. Finally, just be sure to like the video and stuff, and subscribing is cool too.